My name is Russell Smith, and I am the technology facilitator for Carpenter Elementary as well as Fuquay-Varina High School. And today I wanted to demonstrate a website that allows you to create lessons in 5 minutes. It allows you to upload and or embed all kinds of different media, all kinds of different educational resources for the purpose of displaying for your class, especially if you are experimenting with having a flipped classroom. The website is called BLENDSPACE.com, BLENDSPACE.com. So what you'll need to do is to, in the upper right hand corner, is click sign up and choose whether you're a teacher or a student. In this case, you're most likely going to be a teacher, but the students could do this too if you wanted them to create kind of like a project based on different resources. In order to make a presentation, you could have them use BLENDSPACE as well. You fill in your first name, your last name, your email address, and your password, and then you click sign up. Once you have created your account and logged into BLENDSPACE, you'll come across, this is your dashboard. I want to call attention to 3 tabs before we get started in creating your BLENDSPACE lesson. The first tab is your lessons tab on the left hand side at the top. And this is where you will click here if you want to create a new lesson. If you want to create a class in order to place all your teachers or all your students in your class into a class, you can do that. You can click join class if there's already a class that's been created that you can access. If you want to create a class, you can click here on the second tab, which is labeled classes. You can create your class anywhere from preschool all the way up to beyond 12th grade. You would give your class a name here. So for example, you could enter all the names of enter the names of all your students, so you could keep track of which students have logged in and taken part in the lesson if you wish. The third tab is the gallery tab. And what it allows you to do is it allows you to search for different lessons that have already been created by other users of BLENDSPACE. So for example, if you don't want to create one yourself or you're not sure how to create a lesson, you can search to see if someone else has created a lesson that suits the objectives that you're trying to teach. So for example, they have different categories. They have a math category, a science category, a social studies category, a language arts category, technology, art, world languages, professional development, and other. But in this case, we're going to go ahead and we're going to discuss how to create your own lesson in BLENDSPACE. So I'm going to click new lesson right here. And the next thing it's going to ask you to do is going to ask, what is your Canvas about? So in this case, I've decided I want to do a lesson on the water cycle. So I'm going to type in water cycle. And then click OK. If you're not sure, you can search, for example, you can search for volcanoes or Shakespeare's or polynomials. But in this case, I'm going to choose the water cycle. And you can see that the search term has been entered up here. There are a number of different ways that you can upload, you can look for resources on your topic. For example, the first one at the top is YouTube. You can search for a video about the water cycle on YouTube. So I'm going to click there. And you can see a number of different resources for videos for the water cycle appear here. This one, the water cycle wrap. What I would do if I can preview it here. And unplug. So hopefully you can hear. So if I said I want to use that resource, what I can do is I can drag that resource to my first box here. So you can also have a number of different resources. You can search for the water cycle using an open ed resource. We're going to preview that. Open it up in a new tab perhaps. can add that as well. Just drag it over to the second box. If you want to use a picture by searching for the water cycle on Flickr, you can choose a particular picture and insert it here. If you want to look for a resource in EduCreations that's been recorded by someone else, for example, if I want to use Jack Allard's water cycle animation here, you click play. If we want to use Guru, if we decide we don't want to use a resource, we can always just drag it and trash it by dragging it over to the side. If you want to include your own resource from a web page that you found, for example, if I want to include this website in my lesson, discoverwater.org/bluetraveler, I'm going to copy that URL and go over to BLENDSPACE. I'm going to click on this link for the World Wide Web. I'm going to paste that URL and search, and I'm going to drag that resource into the fifth box here. And if I click on it to preview it, and as it loads, now, if you want to upload your own media, something you have saved on your desktop or your computer, you can open File. In this case, I'm going to open up this video here. It's a tour of the water cycle. And it's going to upload the file. So there's my resource. I'm going to drag it into the sixth box here. It's going to take some time to process the video. Okay, so once your resource that you've uploaded has been processed, in the case of this video, I'm going to try it here. It says BLENDSPACE did not recognize the format of the resource. The resource is not shown for downloading it. You can click here to open it in a new tab. So in this case, you can open that video in a new tab if necessary. You can also, if you have access to Google Drive in your Gmail account, and you have a resource that's in your Google Drive, you can click on Google Drive, and if I want to see my Google Drive files here, I can click to add my account, and I can connect to Google. And I can accept my lessons. Click on water cycle. In this case, I want to replace this picture. I want to replace it with something from my Gmail or from my Google Drive. So if I click on Google Drive, you can see all the different resources I have in my Google Drive right here. So if I've uploaded this video, so I'm going to drag and move that resource here from my Google Drive, and then click, so it can be played. Or, for example, if I had something else and I wanted to include another item, I can incorporate that as well. I can add that if it was relevant and ready to be played. I can also choose to upload media from, for example, if I have a PowerPoint, I can choose a file, and I want to look for this PowerPoint on the water cycle. So once it's been uploaded, I can add it to my grid, click OK. And you can just proceed as you normally would. through the different slides in the presentation. Now, you can also, one thing that people might want to do since they work in Wayne County is they might ask, is it possible to link to a video or a resource in Discovery Education, because Discovery Education is something that's really recommended for teachers to use since it's something we're paying for. The answer is yes. For example, if I go to Discovery Education at the top, and what I've done is I've already searched for videos based on the water cycle, and I want to access this video in the about the water cycle in Discovery Education. The important thing to remember is that if you want to link to a resource in Discovery Education, you have to remain signed in to Discovery Education even if you're using BLENDSPACE. So if you're signed into Discovery Education at the same time while you're using BLENDSPACE, what you can do to link to this certain video, highlight and copy the URL for the particular video. In this case, I've highlighted the URL for this video that I've selected. I can go back to BLENDSPACE. I can choose my icon for Insert Web Page. I can paste the URL for the Discovery Education video and click Search. And what I can do is I can drag that resource into a space on my grid and allow it to search for the link. And when the link's been inserted, I click on the resource, and I come to that particular video. What if I want to change what it looks like here? If you go up to the top on the left-hand side above the grid, you can click on Templates, and you can choose the square grid that we've been using, or you can choose a more rectangular grid like this. Just rearrange it. You still have 6 resources, but they're just rearranged. You can have a bar format, so they're shown like this. You can have a trio format where some of the resources are smaller than others, but they still play in the right order. And if you want to switch them around, you can switch them from one place to another. You can switch the order that you want the resources to appear in your presentation. Or you can click on the mosaic format, and it rearranges your resources that way, and then you have more room for even more resources if you want. You can also add a row. If you want to add more room for another row for resources for your lesson, you can do so. And then you can change your template back to the grid format if you want. If you want to change the color scheme, you can choose different colors for your logos, or they're all dark. So how do I share it? How can other people see it? Well, the website link is located here. If you want to include that link in an email or on a website if you like. Or you can share it this way. You can share it, this is the lesson link is here if you want to include that. It's a shortcut. You can include it on Edmodo. You can include it by tweeting it out through Twitter. You can embed it. You can email it. You can share it on Facebook, or you can create a QR code that can be accessed through a QR code reader. In this case, I want to embed this on my Weebly site. So if I click on Embed, this is the embed code for this lesson. I'm going to highlight and copy the HTML code onto my clipboard. I'm going to switch over to my Weebly site. I'm going to click on my embed code widget, which creates a space for me to enter and paste the HTML code. And there's my lesson. And then I click Publish and go to my Weebly site. So there is my lesson on the water cycle using BLENDSPACE. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this little presentation, and good luck using BLENDSPACE. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.